Noob D&D Dad here, and we are talking the Army Veterans campaign that I'm the noob DM for, the Curse of Strahd campaign, session number 13, in which I got to use the new monster manual, and I may have given a pistol to my players.
All right, so I am trying to let my players be as sandboxy as possible. So they're here at Von Richten's tower, and they wanted to go over to Kresk to try and find some of the stuff
from their card reading. And so tell me if you're a player or if you're a DM, how you do this. So the night before the session, as the DM, I try to look at the map and be like, okay, where are they now? Where did we pause? What was interesting them as we were paused? And where are they likely to go?
Because I'm not going to lie, this book
is a lot harder for me as a noob DM than the Essentials kit, the Dragon of Icespire Peak. This, I know I've mentioned that. I'm not trying to complain, but like, no kidding. Like, this takes a lot more, I guess, like study. Whereas I feel like the Essentials kit, you could kind of just open it and run it, and there's not too much reading. And I feel like you could do a pretty good job if you kind of skimmed it and then read it as you go. So basically, they're at the tower and they had just got shocked because they're trying to rush into it. And so I'm like reading it. I'm like, okay, now what happens once they activate the lightning trap? Like, what's the next step? Turns out if they fail like 3 more times, the thing collapses and it could possibly kill them, like TPK. So I'm like, okay. I basically had to go through the chapter and ask myself these questions. Like, one, well, this is from prior, but how much XP should they get for taking Irina to the Velaki? And then there's 10 minutes of the electricity left after the lightning. And who lives in the tower? What's in the wagon? What is Esmeralda's, like, her personality? What does she want to do? And then what is the status of the players? They still have a vampire head on a stick, and they still have a revenant head on a stick. Like, no kidding, they're carrying this stuff around. So these are things I need to know, so that if they meet an NPC, they'll be like, what are you, like, why do you have these heads on the sticks? Like, you guys seem scary and bad. And then I had to read about the anti-magic field around the tower so that I understood how that worked. And then I basically went through each of the rooms and was trying to figure out what was in there. And turns out there's not a lot in the tower. And I saw a video, and I can't remember right now. Bald guy, awesome video. He was talking about how you should add more stuff into these rooms of the tower. And I totally want to do that because once the players actually do go back here, spoiler alert, they didn't want to do it. Once they peeked in there, they didn't want to do it. But the rooms are so empty, it seems like a wasted opportunity. So kind of like the death saving throws, I drew myself the door trap, right? So that one had already been used up. So after all my preparation, after reading as much as I could, there comes a time where as a noob DM and as a father of 5 and guy that works and stuff, I can't just read these books all the time. I want to, but I either poor planning or other priorities, I don't end up reading them all the time. So I have to be like, okay, this is my best guess at where I think the players are going to go. So, okay, let's go tomorrow. And then worst case scenario, I have to flip to the page and read ahead real quick and do what I do and wing it. So here's what actually happened. So my friend looks at the door, right, that has the symbols of how to get in. And he decides that this is like a dance you have to do. And so he stands up at the table and does all the hand signals that are on this door. And he does them in the right order. The book says if they don't do it in the right order, then something happens. And it's like, what is the right order? Like, it doesn't actually say. But anyway, it seems like
you just start like at one of these and just go.
Anyway, so he got up and did all the symbols like it was a dance, and it was outstanding, and then the door opens. Now, at this point, I think he had the other players back up, right? Because at this point, the players are realizing how much I love lightning bolts, and I always ask if they're in a line, right, so that I can zap them. So he had everybody spread out and back up, and then just he did it. So then the door opens, and they're still back there, but the door's only going to stay open for a minute unless they hold it open. And so I'm asking him, like, okay, what are you doing? Like, this is how much time that's gone by. So he says, okay, I peek through the door, right? Because there's the curtain. He sees the golems with their, I have them holding the chains so that he puts two and two together and he's like, oh, it's an elevator. Anyway, he sees that there's some other junk in the room, that there's an elevator. But he's super weary of what's going on. And they're kind of like, I don't want to say dilly-dallying, but they're kind of like deliberating. And then so I'd just be like, okay, the door starts to close. Not like, you better get out of here, you're going to get trapped, but just like, starts to close. So prompting that they could say, oh, I just try to stop it or whatever. So again, I think they're feeling kind of timid at this point. So he's just like, okay, I run out of there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, you could have tried to stop it. But since the lightning blast like almost killed them or took like a third of their life, they're just being very, very careful. And the way that I described the lightning energy like dissipating, because it says it lasts for 10 minutes after it goes off, is it's like an electric hum. It's like maybe with little few crackles, and it's getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And they interpreted that as that it's charging up. And I'm like, okay, or it's dissipating, but I guess, yeah, kind of doing both. So they decide to go half a mile away, which is down the road by the intersection, and do a long rest because they're just like, we got to go to this tower, but we're all like wrecked from that lightning bolt, so let's do a long rest. And I'm just like, okay, what's going to happen after this long rest? So I roll on the random encounter chart, and I get 5 bandits, right? So this is the random encounter chart in the Curse of Strahd. So I get 5 bandits, and I decide when I open up the new monster manual.
See, bandit, so 27. Here we go. So I'm like, okay, no, not Balor, Balrog, bandits. So treasure any, that's fun. I'm like, okay, here we go, 5 of these guys. And then I'm just like, scimitar, crossbow, 11 hit points. I'm just like, these guys are not very tough. So I'm like, let's do a bandit captain with the 52 hit points and a freaking pistol.
So heretofore in all of the D&D sessions that I've run, which I think this might have been session like 97 for me, something like that. But out of all the sessions I've run, I still feel like a noob. And my wife today's like, when are you not a noob anymore? And I'm like, maybe when I know all the rules. I don't know. But I've never used a pistol. I've never let anybody use like an actual like gun. And so in this new book, I mean, not that this is a foreign concept, right? Because it's in the equipment in the other stuff, but the bandit captain has a pistol. Anyway, so after their long rest, I have them get like surrounded by bandits, and the bandits are like, give us all your stuff, right? And my friend who's lawful good is just like, you guys better surrender. You know, like, you surrender, you're not taking our stuff. And I'm just like, I'm thinking these bandits, I'm like, they're not convinced. And so I have them roll like intimidation or persuasion. The rolls actually are not very good. And I decide that the bandits are pretty determined. They want to steal some stuff. So the players slaughter them. Like, my bandits are rolling so poorly. The dude he can do like a pistol and a scimitar, and he's just failing. Like, his rolls are like single digits, so low, cannot do anything. And these guys just annihilate the bandits. Like, we're talking one-shot kills. And so I'm like saying that they're getting beheaded and stuff. And my friend's like, really? After their buddy gets beheaded, they still want to fight? And I'm like, yeah, because he's thinking they're going to win and there's going to be more treasure for him, right? They just slaughtered them. So we've got the Goliath monk, right? So he is all about just grappling people and proning people. And so he grapples this guy, and the guy tries to like hit him with a scimitar. And then I don't know what ability the prone monk or the Goliath monk has, but he like rejects the damage and sends it back at the guy. So the way that I describe how that happened is that the guy like tries to scimitar him while they're like grappling, and the Goliath just says like, nope, grabs his arm with the scimitar and just like sticks it back into his head. So the 2024 rules with this 2014 book already, I think there's like a huge disparity. It's like you almost just need to like up the monsters like just from the beginning, just either the amount of them or how strong they are, like right off the bat. So I don't know if that's just the 2024 conversion speaking or what. And one other thing, like, so I'm prepared for this tower because the players are at the door of the tower, right, at the beginning of the session. But then they're like, get kind of timid and they want to go on a long rest and they do all this stuff. And, and then I do the random encounter because I'm like, you guys are sleeping out between villages. Like, this is kind of a rough place. And then, of course, our player with the gills that got them as a, what is it called? Like a death gift, a dark gift. He always wants to investigate lakes, right? So he wants to investigate this lake. He's actually not there. It's my other friend playing him because he can't be there. But same kind of thing that I've been talking about in another video about investigation, where it's like, okay, I want to investigate a lake. So they roll. And it's like, this is a big lake. Like where are you going? Like I almost want to make it like a whole thing. Like, okay, are you going on the shore? Are you going in the middle? Like, what are you doing? But really, they just want to roll once and they want to know if they found anything. So, like, do you spend a half an hour describing investigating this lake? Or do I just set a DC in my head of how they can find something and they just do a roll? What would you do? All right, so players wipe out these bandits and they get their pistol and 9 bullets because I decided he had 10 bullets and he fired 1, so why not? And crossbow bolts, and I do the new DM guide has the treasure, like the individual treasure and the treasure hoard on page 121, and I have them roll, and it comes out to 500 gold. So I have each one of these guys have a leather bag of 100 gold, and then I decide that they can do the roll for magic items. So they do the 1d4 minus 1, and it comes out to 3. And I decide that I'm choosing 2 of the rarities. I'm choosing common, right? Because these are weakling bad guys, and they shouldn't be getting magic items every 2 seconds. But I'm like, common items? Sure, why not? And then I was like, just to spice it up, you can roll for 1 of the rarities. So they roll, and it ends up being common anyway. So 3 common items. Here's what they got. A weapon plus 1, which I decided is a scimitar. So the bandit captain had a +1 weapon, and my ranger friend was super excited because he had chosen like mastery of scimitar or something. I don't know, when he was building his character. And then there was a potion of healing, which is obviously super useful here, and a clockwork amulet, which I think these players will actually make really good use of that because it's the thing that lets you take a 10, but you have to be attuned to it. But I was thinking, dang it, maybe I should have rolled this before because these bandits really could have used the dang clockwork amulet because they couldn't. I don't think any of them ever rolled above a 10 the whole time. So even though I'm making it stressful to myself in allowing it just to be super sandboxy, I still have so much fun playing. But it's hard when I'm like, you're going to do the tower. And so I'm preparing for the tower. And then they're like, no, we're going out here. And then this. And it's just like, dang, guys, like, how can I, other than just like memorizing the whole book, like how do I prepare for such a sandboxy session? But I had fun introducing the pistol, and that caused a discussion about the concept of loading. When a weapon has loading on it, turns out you can shoot it every turn. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the players kept the pistol. So we now have a gun in the party. So I don't know how that's gonna play out. But honestly, I'm excited that it's there. But really, I have no clue how it's going to go. Tell me about campaigns you've played that have guns in them, whether as a player or a DM, because I just want to hear how your gun play has gone in this traditionally like medieval kind of a game. All right, this has been session 13 of the military. Mostly, they're all Army veterans right now, but any veterans can be there. The Army Veterans campaign that I am the noob DM for, session 13. So stay tuned for more, and also look at my son's campaign that is ongoing. But yeah, thank you for watching and taking your time to go with me on this noob journey. So we'll see you on the next one.